How to choose a college the right way, the wise way, and avoid drowning in debt. If you've ever seen the statistics, which are crazy, student loans are crippling people. Student loans are not allowing people to become homeowners. They're keeping people back from having children. I mean, student loan debt is a very, very nasty and dangerous thing. And I wanted to just talk about this and release something because you know what? At the end of the day, if this little series can help even one person and help them prevent screwing up a whole big portion of their life because now all of a sudden they have this big ball and chain of student loan debt hanging around their waist, then you know what? It's well worth it. So a little context here. I offer another site which is not attached to this community here at Clay Trader, but the site being moneywithclay.com. And that's my personal finance site where I talk about real estate investing and personal finances. And I offer a course there called SLAB, which stands for Sleep Like a Baby at Night, which is my personal finance course, how I manage my personal finances, how I grow my wealth, how I build my wealth, and all that good stuff. But part of that course is a little subsection of additional kind of little mini courses. And one of those mini courses is, hey, how do you choose college the right way? For you parents out there, how can you help guide your kids? Maybe, I mean, if your parents are having you watch this video, thank you very much for at least listening to your parents. But please just take it, listen. I think I'm going to be able to make some valid, points to you on what you really need to be considering within your college pursuit. But the point here being is that this is just a little, I guess you can call it sneak peek of what the course offers, but it's also going to be something where I just need to get it out there for free because I'm sick and tired of seeing, with all due respect, these high school guidance counselors, these high school everything, and they're just leading these kids to the slaughterhouse. Just leading the kids to the slaughterhouse. Yeah, debt. Yeah, go there, debt. And it's disgraceful. I was saying, should I say that? This is going to be public on the internet, but it's disgraceful. A lot of you guidance counselors out there, shame on you. Shame on you for leading these kids to go and just ruin their lives. To a lot of you parents out there, shame on you. I'm not the greatest parent. I'm not the perfect parent, so I'm not saying in that regard. But if you watch this and then you still encourage your kid to go get loaded down in student loan debt, shame on you. Have them follow this. I'm getting fired up now. See, that's why I like personal finances because this stuff gets me fired up. This is practical, real world type stuff. So let's go through part number 1 here. Hopefully you saw that in the title. But yeah, as far as how to choose a college, here's my thoughts. Assuming you have been watching these in order, welcome to our final Work Smarter, Not Harder mini-series video in the art of being lazy in regards to college. As I've said in the other videos, if you're curious where did all these other animations come from as far as the picture, just go back to the credit card video and I explain kind of what's going on here with the efficiency expert. But with college here, it's going to be a little bit longer of one, two-parter I believe, but I have a deep passion for this one. And it really just, because it's such a big deal. It really is a big deal for your future in life. And it has a big impact on things. And, I no longer do it with the 4 kids. My wife and I were already busy enough. But before, when we had a little bit more manageable situation, we helped out with our youth group at church. And these were the high school age group. So, I had a lot of, you get to know the high school students, you hang out with them. And it's something where you want to just say, hey, make sure you're making good decisions. Because these decisions in the short term can really lead you to make dumb decisions, but within the long term and the big picture of things, you got to be smart about it. So it's a situation where it's kind of like, all right, I can sit here and gripe and complain about how things are set up, or I can at least try to do something about it. So this is why I have, taught this thing at my, local church before to not only the high school students, but anybody that wants to come, but just to, make sure that people are aware of this. So if I go off and rant and rave, I'm going to try to stay controlled, but like I said, this stuff is a big, big deal, especially maybe your parents purchased this course and they're like, hey, I want you to sit down and watch this video. I get it. I went through college and I'm a stranger to you, but hear me out and, just try to have as much of an open mind as possible. And if you're just watching this as a parent and you don't think your kid's going to watch, just keep this in mind as you, parent your child, right? That's your job. Your job isn't always to be their best friends. It is to be an advisor. It is to parent them. And these are the things that you should be considering when you parent them. So keep that in mind. Very, very, very important things that truly have a long-term effect on them. And all you got to do is check the current statistics in terms of college loan debt, student loan payments, and how they can be very crippling if you go about them in a very non-efficient manner. So let's get into it. And yes, I am here to rain on your parade. The quicker you realize the fact I'm about to tell you, the sooner your future self will really, really be thanking you. And that is this: college is an investment, not an experience. Yeah, I've been accused multiple times of maybe being a bit rough around the edges, but if for an experience you need something like this, for an experience, I want to go to school for the experience. All you got to do is figure out the current averages for college debt. So to do that, there you go. You know how to work a search engine. Just make sure you put in your current year. So at the time of this recording, this is what I got. The average student loan borrower has $37,000 in student loans. So if you need, on average, $37,000 for an experience, then yeah, you are a moron. You are a moron. I assure you, I guarantee you, there are plenty of ways to enjoy yourself during your college years that don't cost anywhere close to that amount. I mean, not even close to $5,000. I guarantee it. If you need to pay that much, then yeah, that's rough. And I don't say this as I sit from my perch and as I sit here and say, I am perfect, I did everything right. No, I have regrets about how I went to college and went about it. And when I run the numbers, as you're about to see, it's really a punch in the face to me. And it's just, so I don't sit here saying this and calling, a moron, because I'm going to share my moron moment with you, and just understand that where I sit now with my college years behind me, I do regret it. So it's not one of the no regrets. No, you will have regrets, and I want to share my moron moment and my regret with you, and you'll see that as we go. So right now, it is definitely time to get selfish and greedy. I want you to fall in love with this powerful phrase. It's, a very important concept: return on investment, ROI. And I chose this neutral color because at the core, it is a neutral concept. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just a way to measure something. And what that something is going to determine whether or not it transitions from, a neutral to a good or bad situation. Now, this is not an investment course. This is not some sort of, investment theory course. So I'm not going down that hole, but just know that at the core, ROI, return on investment, is all about this principle right here. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Again, that seems like super self-centered, like extremely selfish. And you know what? It 100% is. But you know what? That's perfectly fine. When it comes to you, and especially your potential family's future, I get it. If you're in high school right now watching this, or, depending on where you are in life, maybe you don't have a family. But if you have even an inkling, even a shred of thought, like, yeah, I might have a significant other at some point, I might have, a family, then just know that you better get that much more greedy, because your selfishness and greed and self-centeredness in regards to this is 100% justified. It's totally fine, and it's totally where your mind should be. So now, who is this other person here? Well, this other person is kind of yapping to you, and they're yapping to you about these various things. But at the core, that person is actually the return. So I'm not saying this person is a scumbag. I'm not saying this person is trying to scam you. But what I'm saying is you need to do this to that person. That's what you need to be doing. Right there. That summarizes it. You are on the right. The return is on the left. And sure, maybe that's being a little bit too intense, but I don't care. When you've got to be intense about this process. If you are not intense, then you are, in all genuineness, in all sincerity, you are setting your future self up for a world of annoyance, stress, headaches, heartaches, uncertainty, just unpleasant emotions. And not to mention, if you have a family, or maybe you already have one, then you need to think about family the most, even if they don't exist. Like I already said, even if you have just a shred, I think, probably not, but you never know. If there's a but you never know, you need to be thinking about your family in regards to all this, because it will directly affect them. So just get that in your head right now. Get self-centered, all right? So the big question really becomes hobby or income source. And in this situation, there is actually a pretty well-defined line that exists between, am I pursuing a passion or is this just pure absurdity? And I'm going to show you what I mean right here. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that people should be 100% focused on income. Just do a job that's going to bring in the most. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's got to be 100% focused on income. What I am saying is this. Use a solid income source to intensely pursue a hobby. Again, use a solid income source and then take that and just go total beast mode with pure intensity and pursue whatever your hobby may be. So here's what I mean as an example. And nothing is made up here. This is all real. It's all out there. So a local college by us, a private one, Kelvin College, offers a medieval studies major. You just go through the website, and then they have a little section there for their career and outcomes. And literally under career and outcomes, it says, many of our medieval studies graduates have gone on to graduate school. Okay, so they graduate and then they go on to graduate school. So that's just marketing speak for it. There's basically zero job market for this degree field. And I'm sure you're not exactly shocked to hear that. Medieval studies. So now I'm not judging. So that's awesome. If you have a passion for medieval times and medieval studies, hey, that's great. We all have different hobbies. We all have different passions. That's awesome. But it's very, very clear that there is a very slim to none job market for this kind of degree. You know what I mean? I mean, when the college's own career and outcomes says that many of their graduates just go on to graduate school, it kind of is what it is at that point. There's not really a job market for it. So my proposition to you is why not do this? Go and get a degree with a good, solid income stream. And then you can use that income stream to buy books, to travel to historic areas. Go check out the castles. Go check out whatever that is. Perhaps start collecting relics because, you have a solid income source. So maybe you can buy some cool stuff from the medieval ages. Travel to events. Do all sorts of stuff. Because if you get that good income source, then you can do all sorts of stuff. But if you do something that's loading you down in all sorts of student loan debt, well, you're not going to be able to pay for those plane tickets to travel to that historic castle because that plane ticket amount is going to pay for that student loan. You know what get a good resource of income, aka a good degree, and then you can just intensely pursue what is more so just a hobby, which is more so just a passion. To me, that makes a whole lot more sense, is just make sure that you're in the best spot possible to really pursue this hobby. And to do that, find yourself a solid income source. Here's another example, and I want to add in some context more in terms of what I'm getting at. So again, just found this out there. UMass Amherst, they have a dance degree program. So you go to College Grad, which is a pretty well-known website, but regardless, websites change. But there's always going to be websites out there that are telling you about job prospects, job demand, and all that. So from the site right here, dancers and choreographers face intense competition. The number of applicants is expected to vastly exceed the number of job openings. The number of applicants is expected to not just exceed, vastly exceed the number of job openings. So at that point, things are really sounding like a hobby. And again, this would be my proposition to you. Why don't you do this? Get a degree that's got that solid income stream, and then use that money to buy yourself private lessons. Go and get any sort of needed equipment that's used for dancers. To travel. So maybe you buy yourself private lessons that are across the country because you have to go and find this awesome instructor. So you got to actually pay to travel. I don't know. What I'm getting at is, though, in short, use that income to intensely fuel those passion flames, to intensely just get after your dancing desires and turn yourself into an awesome, awesome dancer. Then when that's done, do something like this. So I, ran a search. Let's find some auditions that are out there. And through this dance plug, I found this right here. So New Holland or Holland America Line, that's just a cruise ship. And there are lots of other ones, so I'm not saying this is the only, but there's auditions available out there. And I was curious, so I kept on digging.
And right there, the description, they're seeking male and female dancers. And then the requirements. You read through those. And I am not, I don't have the greatest of greatest vision, but you can double check me. You can read. I didn't see anything about a college degree being needed. It seems as though from my reading comprehension levels that what they care about is your skill and ability as a dancer, not that you have some sort of piece of paper hanging on the wall. You probably have it framed, but they don't seem to really care about that. So in my mind, turn yourself into a great dancer with that solid income. Pay for those private lessons. Just do what you got to do. And then after that, hey, go find some auditions. Go start auditioning and see what happens. Go live your dream. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to work on a cruise ship and you're always traveling around and you're doing what you love to do. And the greatest thing is, you know what? If something doesn't quite go right or maybe you need a little break, then you still have a great safety net degree that you can fall back on and go back to work and get that, income or, what point is you are giving yourself flexibility. And that's what peace of mind is all about. That's the SLAB way. If you want to sleep like a baby at night, give yourself a safety net. And in this world, a safety net is a good quality degree that can provide a solid income stream where it can, assist you in any sort of hobby. So as far as because you never want to tell a person, especially a teenager, to not follow their passions, to not follow what they love to do. And I'm just saying, just consider this, because if that is what you truly love to do, then go and do it. But let's do it the smartest way possible. And the smartest way possible is not to load yourself down in debt. The smartest way possible is to create a good income stream where you can then go really pursue it. So that is my point here. Is I'm not saying don't follow your dreams. I'm saying let's follow your dreams in a very efficient way. Let's follow your dreams in a very smart way where you're going to be able to get after it as best as possible. And the way that you can get it after it as best as possible is to have money coming in that you can then turn around, take that money, and then use it to pursue your hobby. So that is my point here. Everybody should pursue your passion, but I want to make sure you are pursuing it in the smartest way possible. So let's do some reverse engineering, and this is what the SLAB style is all about. At the end of the day, in order to best kind of figure out what's in it for me, and in order to figure out if what's in it for me is worth it, we have to actually work backwards and we'll start at the end. Now, as we proceed, I want to throw this out there up front. Do not take my word for anything. Part of this learning and the main part of the learning is going to just be how to do the research on your own. So times change. So pieces of data I talk about right now, and whether or not, how I talk about them in a bad way or a good way, that actually may no longer be accurate. So anything that I talk about, I'm not saying that's what you should go do. Keep in mind, I am talking about the process. Who knows? Maybe someday when you're watching this, medieval studies may just explode in job demand. I don't know what the future is going to bring, so you never know. So focus on this as a process. So I want to focus on the process first and go through the SLAB style, and then we'll do some case studies later on. So step one in all this is determine job outlook. This is by far the most important step, because step two can actually be extremely deceiving if you don't do this step first. Step two, I'll just let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, step two will be determine the median salary and pay. But the thing here where the deception comes into play is, well, yeah, you could look at the pay of professional athletes, professional musicians, professional dancers, all those sorts of things. And yeah, that's going to show great numbers. If you go research what a professional athlete makes, you're saying, wow. But what about the job outlook? What are the chances? What are the odds that you're actually going to get one of those types of jobs, right? So we want to make sure that there's good probabilities, that there's good odds in your favor that you're actually going to get one of those jobs. So that's why step one is very important, is we got to keep things realistic. So how do you go about that? Well, these are just a few ideas as far as the search engines are concerned. Just always remember to put in the year. Granted, the search engine is going to know to try to look for recent results, but still, just to play it safe, degrees with best job outlook, and then put in the degrees with worst job outlook. Kind of help yourself know what sorts of things you should probably be avoiding. Degrees in demand, and then insert year. And then, of course, get creative to your heart's content. Figure out where exactly, what sorts of jobs, what sorts of degrees are people looking to use, are people looking to hire. Now we're at step 2, determine degree and salary pay. So this is really the backbone of what's in it for me. And yeah, I mean, obviously it should be. If you're going to pay for something, if you're going to pay for some sort of degree, then you need to be asking yourself in a very greedy way, what are you getting in return for this payment? And I mean, we always do this. If you go to the store and you buy something, you want to make sure that you're getting something quality. If you don't, you take it back, you return it. Why? Because that was what's in it for me. I got a piece of garbage. Or, if you buy something and it's broken, then hey, you can take it back. But unfortunately, with the way this works, if you buy something that's broken, aka you get a bad degree, there is no returning it. There literally is not. Not even bankruptcy allows you to return it. Student loans are non-bankruptable, meaning they are with you until you go on the ground with that RIP up above you, okay? That's how it works. So yeah, in many cases, if you spend your money on something, you get a bad return on investment because let's just say it's broken. Okay, fine, you can take it back. Not in the world of college. If you get something that's broken, which many of these degrees are, sorry, no return policy. You're stuck with that debt. So that's why we got to be smart about all this. Now, remember that you should not be doing the below searches unless step 1 shows a job outlook that points to the degree being an income source and not a hobby. I would have loved to play in the NFL I would have loved to have been a professional athlete. I saw what those jobs pay. That doesn't mean that there's good job outlook for, people like me that aren't quite strong enough, fast enough, quick enough, all that sort of stuff. Okay. So remember, you got to make sure that there's first actual job outlook that shows that people want this degree and want to hire you for having this degree. So assuming that is in place, then you can run these searches. And the one thing about all these searches is make sure that you actually insert the degree into each one of these. So right there, I did do that for you, but median salary, insert the degree, and then make sure let's keep things relevant. So insert your year. Another one, median salary, insert year, and then insert your location. So if you'd ideally like to stay around where you grew up, or maybe you want to move somewhere at some point, then you may want to factor in where you're actually at. But again, make sure that you would want to insert your degree in any sort of these fields. Keep things as precise as possible. So that is step number 2. That's going to give you a bunch of results. We will get more into that, as we go through the case studies. But right now, we're just talking about the SLAB style itself. Step number 3, find an in-state school that offers the degree that you want. And this is, Clay, you got to have no, I don't have an open mind with this, and I'm going to show you why. 0 open mind policy. I am not open to negotiations. I am not open to hearing your rationale. You do not go out of state. Clay, you're being very closed-minded. Yes, I am. And the numbers are going to show you why I'm being very closed-minded. The only exception being that if you have 100% tuition and room and board, So not, they're going to pay my tuition, but I got to pay for room and board. No. That's the only exception. 100% tuition, room, and board paid for. So if that's not the case, here we go. So let's say you just live in Texas. Looking at the University of Texas admissions website, and then just looking at the fees. So for Texas residents, there are the numbers. The key thing here, though, that is by semester. So there's 2 semesters in a year. So multiply that out, and they gave a range, so I just kind of try to go in the middle there. We'll call it $5,500 times 2, so $11,000 per year. But let's say that this person wants to attend the Ohio State University, which is where I went. So a little geography lesson there. There you go. From Texas to Ohio, that would be out of state. So now let's look at the actual data. So from Ohio State's undergraduate website, looking right there at the cost and aid. Yeah, you ready? So an academic year is 2 semesters. So here we're looking at a year. Each one of these are not semesters like it was for Texas. So both websites obviously show things a little differently. But right there, non-resident, $29,695. Okay, I am a very, very proud graduate of Ohio State. I really am. I'm all for people wanting to go to Ohio State. That's great. But if you think paying 170% more for the same degree, not the same degree. If you think paying 100%, 70% more, then yeah, right there. You know what goes along with that. You are a moron. 170% more, not 5% more. I mean, even 10%, 20% more would be crazy. Wait, you're paying 20% more for the same exact degree? 170% more. I am closed-minded. Stay in state. Next, find an in-state public school. So let's boil it down another level. Public school. And I mean, it's not even close. So let's look at a public right here for Ohio, in-state, $10,591. And then let's look at private. And this is all coming from College Calc, but just you know how to use a search engine. Do a little research on what a private, schools are charging. So how much does it cost to attend a private college in Ohio? The average annual private college tuition in Ohio was $25,964. Alrighty then, let's go back to Texas. We already established that's $11,000 per year. How much does it cost to attend private college in Texas? The average annual, $22,358. So let's get this right. For the same degree in the same state and then paying 145% more in Ohio or 103% more in Texas, I'm sorry. It just, how does that mathematically make sense? Well, the private school would be a better experience. I assure you, you can have a great experience in life for less than 145% more or 103% more. I really do. I assure you. I promise it to you. That does not make any sense. So there is no negotiating here. Zero. Go to a public school in state. Step number 5, you're going to be meeting with a local community college. And I'll pat myself on the back here before I bash myself, but I did some good things, as far as the college investment process, but this is where my regret comes into play. And if I could do things over with, my future self as I sit here right now, and then looking back at the old experience, yeah, I would definitely change it. And why would I change it? The amount of money it would have saved me, and then I could have used that for investing. Oh man, this is not going to be pleasant, but and the $20,000, that's conservative. I mean, that's a conservative amount of money that I saved when you just kind of look at everything. So keep in mind, $20,000, quote unquote, savings. And then this is not adding any more money to it. Up until this point, every time we've kind of done our little money garden calculations, it's always been that, every month you're adding, every month you're adding. This is with no adding. This is with zero adding. This decision essentially has cost me this. Yeah, that number's not wrong. That's just shy of $1 million. So what I am about to talk about, the point I am driving home and why I'm so passionate about it is, this was $1 million mistake on my part. This was my moron moment. Well, Clay, but you got the experience. I assure you, the experiences were not worth $1 million. Okay, I assure you. And this is from experience. So yeah, that was straight up my moron moment. So this step is all about let's do it the right way. So what you're going to do here is schedule a meeting with your local community college advisor. What is the goal of this meeting? You got to get there and you got to devise the best plan of action for what's called a 2+2 bachelor's degree strategy. So it's a strategy session and you are trying to figure out a 2+2. Now, what is this 2+2 strategy? From right here, college or community college review. Essentially, it's a thing of beauty is what it is. It is one that begins in a community college with a 2-year degree. And then it's going to transfer to a 4-year degree program, allowing the student to complete a bachelor's degree in the same amount of time it would have taken had they gone to the 4-year institution. And this is the best part. When the students, they enter the community college with a 4-year degree in the end sight. So they know the end goal. In other words, they're doing what we're doing, right? They're working backwards. So they have the end in sight, and then they're going to select courses for the first tuition that's going to help them achieve their ultimate goals. And essentially, it breaks down to this. You're doing 2 years at a community college and then 2 years at the traditional, 4-year university. And what does that do? That's straight up cost efficiency. And for this, I'll just use the local community college in Ohio that I grew up seeing commercials for and hearing radio ads for. And yeah, I should have listened because it cost me $1 million. But Owens Community College, if you happen to are watching this and you grow up in Northwest Ohio, then you've heard of Owens Community College. So right from their own website, they have a few things here, and one of their advertisements, which is not a lie on their part, they're absolutely right. You'll even save money by including Owens as part of your 2+2 bachelor's degree program. And then they offer a little bit more, and they say right here, if you're just starting out, it's important to meet with a transfer advisor as soon as possible. Transfer advisor being they're going to help you say, all right, yeah, if your end goal is to get a degree from that school, then you're going to want to be taking these classes because these will transfer to that school. So they're going to help you figure out classes that will transfer to a school, and that school is going to be where you end up at to get your final degree. But it's straight up cost efficiency at its best. And yeah, $1 million mistake I made. So let's look at a few of these costs here. So community college costs versus university. And that's the simplest search you could run. But from the College Board site, out-of-state students, you can see right there, well, we already know we're not going out of state. Private, yeah, we're not doing that one either. So that leaves us with a couple more here. And you can see that public 2-year. So public 2-year in district, what is that? $3,440. And of course, that column, as you can see, says the averaged published yearly tuition and fees. So the tuition and fees, this is just an average. But then let's look at the 4-year. Now, again, it is in state, it is public, so that's good. But that's at $9,410. So we looked at a couple with Ohio State and then Texas that would be slightly above average, but those are the averages right there. So for the same class that has the same effect on your end goal degree, and choosing to pay 174% more, again, same class that has the same effect on your end goal. Hey, I want to have that degree. So in order to get that degree, I need to take certain classes. So if you're telling me that the same class that has the same effect on that end goal degree, and then you're paying 174% more, and that's what I did, yeah. My moron moment, my $1 million moron moment. And so that's why I say when I sit here and when I'm getting animated, I'm not saying any of this in a judgmental fashion. Like, I did it perfectly. I went about all this perfectly. So you are an idiot. No, this is me talking out of, I think this is probably anger. Like if I were to sit down and lay on one of those couches with a psychologist and they'd be like, Clay, I think your voice rising, your passion comes from a deep-rooted sense of regret, a deep-rooted sense of anger at yourself that you made that $1 million mistake. Probably true. So the other great thing, the other very efficient thing about a local community college is this. It gives you the opportunity, and I really stress opportunity, to live at home and save huge money. Room and board is a ripoff, and that is where, looking back at Ohio State and then seeing the meal plan and seeing what they gave me just food-wise and then seeing what they charged the meal, oh my goodness. My moron moment. Truly a huge ripoff. And I don't want to hear it. Stop being dramatic. You've already lived at home for like 18 years. What's another 2 to 4 years? Suck it up. Suck it up. Now, to be fair, I do realize that this is, I'm assuming it's possible, and everybody may not have this opportunity. So, if you don't, then it is what it is. But if you do, that's just something to consider, that it really is an opportunity. So don't look at it as, I just want to get out of home. Hey, if you have that opportunity, then, it can really, it can help the numbers in the long run. But if you don't think that's a make or break. I assure you, it is not a make or break. So step number 6, we need to figure out current student loan interest rates. So how do you do that? Well, just, run the search engine and figure out what the current rates are. Student interest rates are always changing, and this is not an economics course, but just with the way the economy is and all that sort of good stuff, rates will always be changing. So this is one of these things where when you're watching this, if it's years from now, these rates may be different. And this is very important because you need to have an accurate estimate of current rates for the next step. So at this point, we'll kind of just aim high a little bit. And for our examples, we will just use a kind of a mid area right there at 5%. So step number 7, pretty straightforward. You got to calculate your what's in it for me percent. And this is a very, very key percentage, a key statistic that you're going to calculate for yourself. So what's in it for me? 12%. That is the number that you need to be aiming for. And the way this all works is on one end of the spectrum, you have straight up SLAB mode. You are the boss. You are the king of your kingdom. You rule it with that iron hammer, and you're sleeping beautifully at night. The other end of the spectrum, yeah, you're right there. Things aren't necessarily, you're not exactly falling asleep at night. So to the left there, you have one area, and you can see right there, that's good. So in other words, when you're making the system work for you, say hello to the cash flow. And not only cash flow, but positive cash flow. On the other side of things, though, what do you have? Well, you're essentially allowing yourself to be scammed. And when you have that, say goodbye to the cash flow. Some may say, Clay, college, it's not a scam. I think we'll just have to agree to disagree, because as you're about to see with some of this stuff, to think that teenagers can go out and get loans in the amount of money that they can for a degree that's going to pay what it does, I don't know. Maybe I'm just rough around the edges, but I look at that as a scam, and I don't want to see people allowing themselves to be scammed. So, but if you're watching this and if you apply these principles, you won't be scammed. I guarantee that. So step number 7, calculate your what's in it for me percentage. So in order to do this, you're going to take your monthly loan payment and you're going to divide that by your monthly take-home pay. Your monthly take-home pay. And then that is going to give you your what's in it for me percentage. As we just discussed, 12% is that sweet spot, and you really, really do not want to be going over that number. I mean, if you are, as we just established, the further and further you're going above that, the more and more stressful, the more and more you will not be sleeping like a baby at night. And that is going to be, now, of course, if you can get under that, that's just the better and better the situation becomes. And to best illustrate all of this, that's why I want to do some case studies here. So for the case studies, though, we need to use, and we're going to use, the SLAB style strategy as the baseline for comparison. So again, remember, numbers change over time. You have inflation, you have, dynamics in the job market changing. So the numbers will change. So focus on the process, because that is never going to change. The process, these steps that we've gone over, does not change. Sure, numbers change. Sure, certain, degrees may be more popular, more in demand and all, but everything else, heck, I mean, really, some degrees didn't even exist 20 years ago with the way technology has been changing, and that's going to continue to happen. So some degrees right now that, you may see pop up, I mean, they may be obsolete, or maybe there's other degrees that you can focus on. So again, focus on the process. So the assumptions here for the SLAB style strategy, we're going to go through this, and to figure out this baseline, we're going to do, like I said, the SLAB style. We're going to do 2 years of community college, and I'm going to add in just 50% of cost, just because I know that's an average, and there's some other things that can always get thrown in there. So we're going to use that number right there, $3,440, and we'll use, like I said, 50% of that cost, which equates to $720. So the total cost per year, when you add in the $3,440 and then you add in that cost factor, $1,720, so $5,160. Yes, these are all ballpark numbers, but like I said, focus on the process, focus on the overall concept here that I'm trying to drive home. And then you're going to look at the 4-year university cost, and then, of course, once again, 50% of that. So the public 4-year, $94.10, and 50% of that is $47.05. So you're looking at that for the 4-year university, that is $14,115 per year. And one more piece of the puzzle, and this is your overall context mentality that you need to have going into all this. So the final piece of the SLAB style strategy is to mentally view the next 4 years like this. Are you ready? Because putting this slide together, this was a fun one. So the next 4 years, you need to have this sort of mentality. Let's get it done. Let's go. At bare minimum, you should be working at least 15 hours per week while in school. I need to focus on, no, you can make it work. I assure you, you can make it work. I am not the smartest cookie in the container. I just totally made that up. That's not true. Let's see. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. There we go. So I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but I was able to work 15 hours per week while getting an engineering degree. And like I said, I had to actually work really hard at it. If you're like a super genius with numbers, like some of my buddies that they could just fly through the homework, they could fly through stuff, I need to stop and actually just think about it. I made it happen. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying, I assure you, once again, 15 hours is well within reach, and you can do it. So 15 hours at minimum per week you're working. And then guess what? When those summers come around, 40 hours per week, bare minimum. And that's just a normal full-time job. It's nothing special. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, and you got to be working 70 hours a week. You got to be working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. No, let's keep things realistic. Now, by all means, please, if you can work 50 hours a week, that'd be awesome. That's what I did in college. I came home, I helped a roofing crew, so I did some construction roofing, and made $10 an hour, and I was happy with that. But we usually worked Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, and usually worked about 10-hour days. So I was a little over 50 hours, but like I said. All this has, like I said, I'm setting this up. I'm leading you into a trap here of the no excuse. So I'll be a little polite here. But 40 hours a week, it's more than possible during the summer. And I found this quote, and this is awesome, from Thomas Jefferson. I'm a great believer in luck. And I find the harder I work, the more of it I have. So the luck you can create. So keep it in mind that you are going to be a working monster while in school. The total cost of your degree should not be what your final loan amount is. So picking back up with the assumptions, as we established, year one at community college, $5,160. Year two, community college, $5,160. Add those together. Now we're transferring, right? Now we got to get into our 4-year degree school so we can finish up the degree. So year three, $14,115. And then for our final year, once again, $14,115. So the total cost of the degree, $38,550. But for our assumption for the case studies, I'm assuming that the loan amount is $25,000. And $25,000 is really, to be honest, just still way too high, but I'm going to just go with it. Let's just go with something that's way too high. So, and you're going to see why it's too high. In order to achieve it, let's look at the math. That way you can't accuse me of saying, well, Clay, you're just making this way too unrealistic. Nobody can actually follow these steps, Clay. Your requests, your demands are, yeah, sure, they sound good on paper, Clay, but in all reality, they don't work out. No, just let's go. Come on, let's use little numbers here. So let's run some numbers. So over the time frame of 4 years, and that includes summers, you need $13,550 to achieve that loan balance of $25,000. Where did that come from? Well, again, the total cost was $38,550. I'm assuming that it's only going to be $25,000, so some basic math there. That means that you need to make over 4 years the $13,500. So per year, you need to make right there $3,388. The math is not difficult. You need to make that amount. You have 4 years, so that's $3,388 per year. So let's just say you make $8 an average. Maybe you got to do a couple of jobs where it averages out to $8 an hour, but do what you got to do. $8 an hour is more than reasonable, but Clay, I'm actually only able to make a little less. That's fine. Just let the numbers play out. You'll see what I mean. There's even some wiggle room right there with that $8 an hour. Now, if you can make even above it, like I said, when I made $10 an hour, and that's been a while since I've been in college, and I'm assuming those rates have gone up, especially, in the world of construction and the trades and all that sort of stuff. So my point here is $8 an hour. That should be more than reasonable. And even if it's a little less than that, you'll see how this plays out. So anyways, you run those numbers. So $3,388 divided by $8. So per year, you need to work 424 hours per year. There are 52 weeks in a year. So per week, you need to work 8 hours. So, let's run a little math here. If you work 5 days a week for only 2 hours, each one of those days, that's 10 hours, okay? If you work 4 days a week for only 2 hours, do 2-hour shifts even exist? I don't know. Maybe they do. So really, all that's saying is out of a 7-day week, you are working only 4 of those days. And out of a day which has 24 hours, you're only working 2 hours to get up to that 8 hours. So, and there you go. You have that loan amount down to $25,000. So that's why I say that 25,000 is actually, higher, because I assure you, if you are in that mind frame of I'm going to be a monster, I am working, let's go, 15 hours a week. I mean, you should really be insulted right now with the mentality that I'm talking about. You should be insulted and saying, Clay, you're really cutting me short. You're telling me I only have to work 8 hours. Are you kidding me, Clay? I'm insulted that you think I can only fit in 8 hours of work. No, Clay, I'm a monster. I'm going into beast mode. You should be insulted. But even if you do the bare minimum, there you go. That's how you can get that number down to 25,000. But if you go into it with that monster mode, my point is this: there are no excuses. You can very clearly make it at 8 hours to bring down the amounts of money, but that's 8 hours a week. Let's just say you do 3 hours for only 3 days a week. So out of 7 days, 3 days for 3 hours. That's still 9 hours. You just beat that right there. So I don't want to hear any excuses. I am being more than realistic. There is no, that SLAB method. Yeah, it sounds cool on paper, but like reality is just way unrealistic. I'm sorry, this is just not unrealistic at all. So figuring out an estimated payment based on these numbers that we have, just run a search engine for student loan calculator. They are all over the place. For this one, I'll just use the one that Bankrate gives. So right there, you have the calculator, and now we need to start to enter in our numbers. So you look right there at the loan amount, right now blank, but yeah, 25,000 as we just established. And then when you look at the loan in terms, we'll just use 10 years. I mean, I'm thinking, I'm hoping, I'm wanting you to get that paid off way, 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 way quicker than 10 years. But that's just the terms of the loan to give us our numbers. And again, the interest rates, as we already discussed, we're going to use 5%. So down there, enter in the 5% mark. So what is a monthly payment for the SLAB payment going to be given these assumptions? $265. So going forward, $265 per month for the loan payment is going to be our baseline. And yeah, let's now begin our journey. And along the way, I want to dispel a few myths along the way. One of them being, does a more name brand college matter to employers? Maybe a name brand is going to, going to a more well-known college is going to help you make more money. Is that worth it? First off, that's, a wrong way to look at it. And we'll get into all of that. But, let's put some, expectations in line with reality. Let's look at how the numbers play out. And again, it's all going to be research. It's all going to be stuff that you can do with the power of technology. There's really no excuses on why you can't, do all this, because you can. But that's going to be our baseline. So now, let's go on a journey. Let's go through some case studies and see how these things turn out.
Well, hopefully you found that helpful and gave you some things to consider. Of course, that was just part one. Want to come back now with part two and give you some case studies and such. So I'll see you back in part two. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.